This comes from the AITA subreddit and is titled, Am I the astronaut for wanting my son to give part of his inheritance to his younger half-brother? My husband, Matt, 52 male, and I, 46 female, have 3 children. A son, Andrew, 24, and 2 daughters, ages 12 and 8. When Andrew was growing up, I felt a bit trapped in the role of a stay-at-home mom. Matt was and still is a great father and earned more than enough to afford all of the necessities and some luxuries too. We had just purchased a new Infiniti which Matt had picked out, but I wasn't happy and was seriously considering asking for a divorce. One day I was involved in a minor fender bender while out shopping. I was driving our still fairly new car and Andrew was with me. None of us were hurt, but neither of the doors on the passenger side of the car could be opened. Andrew was understandably upset, and so was Matt. The guy who hit me, Raul, was very nice. We exchanged contact info, and honestly, I really enjoyed talking to him. So I began seeing him whenever Matt and Andrew weren't home. Oh dear. Honestly, I was happier than I had been in a long time, but eventually I felt guilty. I told Raul that I wanted to work on my marriage, so we broke up. I confessed everything to Matt, and he agreed to go to counseling. Around this time, I found out that I was pregnant with a baby boy. We did a prenatal DNA test, and it showed that Matt was not the father. I decided to give my son up for adoption after he was born, so that's what we did. Matt and I then had our 2 daughters. This just got really uncomfortable. I'm going to panic moonwalk out of this one. I've always felt guilty about the adoption, so a few years ago I did a DNA test and found my son, Diego. I was horrified to learn that he had grown up in foster care and had an unhappy childhood. He always wanted to know his biological parents. He found Raul and has a good relationship with him. I told Diego that I wished things had been different. Matt's parents, who passed away in 2021 and 2022, left half of their estate to Andrew, and the other half was to be divided between our daughters. To be honest, I thought this was unfair, but it's the way they wanted to do it. The girls will receive their portion of the estate when they turn 18. I've yet to begin distributing the money to Andrew, and the reason why is that I feel strongly that half of this portion should go to Diego. Hold up! Okay, Matt's parents, the hubby that she cheated on, right? His parents passed away in 2021 and 2022, left half of their estate to Andrew. Excuse me. And the other half was to be divided up between the 2 daughters. That's red flag number 1. Like the boy gets half and the girls get to share the other half. Okay, I mean that's problematic. It's got nothing to do with the price of tea in China for this scenario here, but it is another problem here. But it's Matt's parents. So biologically, Diego has no connection to them at all, right? None. Just making sure we're all on the same page. I have told Andrew that I would like to give half of his portion to Diego because it's the least we can do to make up for the fact that I should have never given him up. It's the least we can do to make up for something that I did. Got it. He's my son, and the only reason I gave him up is because I thought it was what I needed to do to save my marriage, but he's had a really hard life as a result. Matt has taken Andrew's side, saying that not only is this unfair, but it's against what his parents wrote in their wills. I know that there's a legal aspect, but there's also the moral aspect of wanting to make up for a mistake I made when I was in a bad place. Matt is now threatening divorce, while Andrew has said some really terrible things about both me and Diego to pretty much everyone who will listen. Is what I'm asking such an unreasonable request? Ladies and gentlemen, to give their perspective on this shit show of a situation, Candy Thunder.
Oh my God, it's Candy Thunder.
I have so many thoughts on this, but the first one is that this woman takes no accountability for any of her actions, like 0. Like, for one, she said that it seemed like she was saying the reason they got into an accident was because of the car that her husband picked out. Like, she tried to blame him for the car.
Yeah, what was the mention?
I don't even know why it was worth mentioning that the husband picked out the car. So there's she has no fault in the fender bender. And then she decided to have an affair, which she justifies by being unhappy. So instead of working on her marriage, she decided to have an affair.
Right.
Which never works. I mean, come on. Like, it never works. It's never going to fix the problems in your marriage to bring in somebody else and have sex with them. That's never going to work.
This will provide absolute clarity.
But then I don't know why the grandparents split up and gave the male heir half of it and the female heirs half to share. That's just but the mom also gave up the baby, so again, no accountability. And then at the end of it, he comes back and now she's trying to take somebody else's money
Right.
and give it to Diego to try to make up for what she didn't do. So in nowhere in this thing did she take any accountability for anything.
No, and I love how she says, we need to do this to make up for my mistake. I was like, okay,
It's
so
Andrew's money.
you want to take money from your oldest son and give it to the son that you gave up for adoption, which, by the way, it doesn't sound like she ever told Raul that she was pregnant.
Right? I don't understand why she didn't offer, or maybe she did. And
It doesn't sound like she let him know. She kept that a secret from him completely. He went through the system and had a terrible time, as so many kids do when they go through the system, and then connected with his father. So we don't know how long he was connected with Raul. Raul was probably like, I had no idea. What a terrible feeling that must be. To never even reach out to Raul and be like, hey, I need to give this baby up for adoption.
Right.
You're his father. Would you like to raise this child? He didn't sound like he ever had the
No, his only place was an affair in Fender Bender.
right.
I don't know. This woman sounds.
No, I mean, this is obviously
she
that's
might
not the way that you're going to fix your relationship. Obviously, you can't cause other people pain to fix a problem that you created.
Right.
You have to, if you're going to cause any pain here to solve a problem, it's got to be pain that you have to pay that penance yourself. You can't punish your family for it. It's not their fault. And that's what she's doing. She's passing the buck and passing that pain on to other people and trying to basically just buy off his terrible past at this point. That is not going, I'm sure he would appreciate getting a fat check. It's not going to change the past. It's
No,
not going to
it's not gonna
undo all
fix
the
it.
harm.
But also, can we circle back to the grandparents leaving half to the man and not as much to the girls? Because that's just so shitty.
That's a whole nother situation.
That's just so shitty. Or maybe they knew and thought that the girls weren't his. I don't know. But yeah, or it has something to do with that. I have no clue, but it's a very shitty thing to do.
This is obviously not the right way to go. What was the question here? Can you scroll up to the AITA question? Am I the astronaut for wanting my son to give part of his inheritance to his younger half brother?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
100%.
on the technical side of this, the half brother that he is not connected to where the inheritance came from. So you're not going to be able to do this legally anyway.
Right.
It's not. It's a no-go. It's just not going to happen. But the fact that this is the solution you came up with is extremely concerning. And there has to be, like, it's going to take a lifetime to try to repair that relationship between you and the child that you gave up for adoption. Even if that's what he wants, it's going to take time and it's going to take effort, and money's not going to make that easier. It may be a Band-Aid, but it's not going to make it easier, and it's not going to put you closer to your goal here. It won't.
She doesn't have the ability to take accountability for her actions. Did you hear that? That sounded weird. It was a lot of abilities.
Ability.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's, I agree with you. It is an ask on one offense. It is a.
And she's been doing this for what? I don't know how old Diego is or when this started, but it's not. I mean, this has been years of not taking responsibility for the things that you've chosen to do, for the life the path that you blazed. You just.
Right.
Everything just flew out of your way in the wake.
Right.